President Biden's administration says they're prepared to seek legal action against governors that refuse to allow local school districts to invoke mask mandates. What's your response to that?
I think it's absolutely outrageous. First of all, in Florida, the legislature passed the Parents' Bill of Rights, which says that parents have the ultimate authority over these key issues involving health, safety, wellness, education, and the upbringing of their kids. And so all we're doing is implementing Florida law, saying that parents can make the decision. If parents want their school child wearing a mask, they're free to do that, but the parents who think it's harmful are free to make a different decision. And to have the federal government come in and overrule the rights of the parents as if they know better. You have some 5-year-old kids starting kindergarten, and you say they have to be in masks for 8 hours a day. Tell you what, there's not any evidence to support that. There's never been a controlled trial study saying masking, forced masking of kindergartners does anything against COVID or any respiratory virus. We do know, though, and I know a lot of parents believe, that there are harmful effects of a kid between breathing, not being able to see facial expressions, all these other things. And so clearly this is something that the parents should do. For the federal government to come in and try to overrule parents' rights and force masks on kindergartners, first graders, second graders, that's a massive overreach. And I would ask people this. Joe Biden was vice president during the H1N1 flu, I think it was 2009-2010 period. If you look at that, there's a total of about 380 COVID-related deaths attributed to people under 18 for the entire pandemic. You can also look, if you're COVID positive, they count it as a death. A lot of those deaths, quite frankly, had other underlying causes, but put that aside. The number of pediatric deaths for H1N1 was like 1,200, and that was just one flu season. So that was 3 to 4 times what we've seen in the United States compared to COVID. And yet was Biden talking about forcing masks on young kids then, even though H1N1 was a much more significant threat? Heck, most flu seasons have more a higher pediatric mortality than what we've seen over these last 18 months. Did they try to force masks then? Why not? Why all of a sudden now are they doing it? And I think the reason is this is more political. They want to kneecap the parents and they want to empower teachers unions. And ultimately, I think when you see Delta move in some of the northern states, but when the season changes, I think they are going to push to try to close schools again. That is not happening in Florida. We're going to make sure kids have the ability to attend school in person. But this is a lot of politics at play. You can't tell me that they shouldn't have had to do all this other stuff for respiratory viruses that were more significant, and then all of a sudden now a kindergartner, a parent's not allowed to send their 5 or 6-year-old kid to school unless they have their face covered for 8 hours a day. You know, and I notice a lot of these people, these policymakers, they're out, some of these school board members that are union controlled, you know, they'll vote to impose this and make the kids wear it 8 hours a day, kneecap the parents' rights. Yet they'll be out without wearing masks all the time. I mean, so what's good for the goose should be good for the gander, and yet that's not the way it works. So, and I think people also have to say, and just think seriously about, if the federal government can come in and overrule the rights of the parents with COVID and force masking of kindergartners and first graders, given how COVID is such a small risk relative to past flus and other respiratory viruses, then will they be able to do that every single school year? I mean, if we have a flu season come back next year, will they be able to do it for flu season? At what point does the parent have agency in any of this? And it seems to be all they want to do is empower the government rather than the parents. Our state law is very clear. We have a Parents' Bill of Rights. We've empowered the parents to make decisions. And you know what that means is, what I would do is, in terms of this, you know, obviously, I don't believe the young kids should have to wear them. But if other parents want it, they have the ability to do it. It's really their choice. At the end of the day, though, it is not the federal government's choice. It is not the federal government's right to come in and undercut parents, and it's not the federal government's right or responsibility to overrule Florida law, which is very clear and was just signed by me a few months ago, because people understand how important it is that we stand by our parents, and parents ultimately know what's best for the kids and how they best learn.